Good afternoon. My name's Pat Pizzo, and we're here on March 28th in the spring looking at a native plant island or berm with native plants in Fontana Park near Meridian in South San Jose near the villas. I wanted to show you some of the plants. They're in full color right now, so let's begin walking and looking at first here the ceanothus, this blue flowering plant which is called mountain lilac, and this happens to be which is this one is concha, and concha is a grows to about 3 feet tall. This is a relatively mature plant. The island itself is about 4 years old, and you can see the beautiful colors and the very shiny leaves on the ceanothus. It's an evergreen. Now let's compare it with another ceanothus walking along. We see one called Arroyo de la Seca, and this is a lighter blue, but clearly a beautiful flower, slightly bigger, a very graceful shape. And ceanothus are one of the, we call them fabulous four of native California plants. I'll introduce you to the others in a little bit. Let's continue on. In front of the ceanothus and down a little lower is a manzanita. This is the second of the Fab Four. Right next to it is salvia, which is another of the Fab Four, and the last one is the buckwheat family, which I'll point out in a little bit. Now if we scan up the ceanothus, and above it there's a tree with light green leaves, a wonderful shape, and this is a desert olive. It actually makes little olives. They're very, very small. It has wonderful yellow flowers in the spring. We're past that period. But I think it's a great selection and contrasts well with the other native plants on the island. Let's move on, and we're looking now down at some erigonium that are California fuchsia. They're not in flower yet, but they're these small green clusters at the base of the garden or berm. Behind them, another desert olive, and then another ceanothus of a different type, a slightly intermediate, almost purple color to it. Those are the parts of the flower that surround the flower before the flower opens, but they even have color. And so you can see a little bit of burgundy in that plant right now. The flowers are not full open. And then snow flurry, the white ceanothus to the right. Down in the little corner, and we'll scan that way for you, are red flowering plants called monkey flowers. The red are from the south, and I'm going to show Southern California. I'm going to show you some from the north, which are yellow-orange, in just a little bit. And if you hybridize these two colors, you can get almost any color monkey flower you want, and they're available readily now in nurseries in all kinds of gorgeous colors, purples and burgundies and white, for example. So natives give you an opportunity for a lot of color in the spring, throughout the year, really. The first blooms are the manzanita, which bloom beautiful pink and white flowers in December. And what other plant do you have this December blooming? Let's walk along, and we see another salvia here called Bee's Bliss, and another desert olive. And now we're into the epilobium. This is hold on one second. I want to get the name right. Did I say epilobium? I meant erigonium. This is buckwheat. This is Faciliatum Theodore Payne. I really like Theodore Payne because it's mounding and sprawling, and it has a different leaf form than a lot of the buckwheats do. Well, let me give you a contrast here. Go on this buckwheat over in, it's called St. Catherine's lace, behind the red sage, that red flowering sage called hummingbird sage. And that too is a buckwheat, but look at the size of the leaves and the color and the flower. It's all different and varied. There are probably a couple hundred varieties of buckwheat in California, and they provide beautiful color to a native garden. Here's another buckwheat right here. It's not flowering yet, but this is called sulfur flower, Aragonum umbellatum, and it's yellow flowering, and it's a real showstopper. And you have some native grass behind here, and a tree that's just starting to leaf out called desert olive. So we're going to pause here and go around to the other side of the island. Thank you. You know, I want to show you the island without getting specific about what plants we're looking at here, because look how they all work one with the other to form a beautiful landscape area of color and focus for this park. And you could see the leaf shape, the colors, the size of all these vary, and one can create a wonderful drought-tolerant landscape. This is watered about once every other week in the summer, and all I do is run a hose out here and spray off all the spider webs and dust. That's my only objective. It's not really to deep water. And I also do this in cool parts of the summer. I won't do it on a hot day. The fact that they're on a berm allows good drainage, and so California natives don't like their feet wet. So by having them on a berm, you get good drainage, and it's ideal for California native plants. Now I'm going to just be quiet for a minute, and we'll walk to the other end of the island. In a closing shot, I want to show you a close-up of the insects that live on these plants. And they're ones that, unless you have natives, you really won't encounter, because they're native insects. Native plants attract native wildlife. And that's one of the fascinating features of California native plant gardening. So thank you for your attention. I'm going to show you insects in one closing shot. That's a native bee. Look at them work. Now they don't attack. And if you notice, there are really hundreds of bees on this plant of different types, different sizes, different colors. Yes, there are some European, but mostly native bees. Thank you. Okay, this is another native island in the same park. And I want to show you, first of all, this Bee's Bliss. You know, that's a 1-gallon plant, folks. That was planted about 5 years ago. But you see how native plants like to grow up and out and form a mound. We'll go to the next, down a little ways. There's another buckwheat behind, without color, the green small-leaf plant. We won't go into names, but right next to it is a ceanothus of a certain type. And then another buckwheat. And I want you to look at this one and see how different and how varied the leaf form is, and the flowers. Those are old dead flowers from last year. And then there's new growth coming out, and it will have new flower heads, which you can see on the top of the plant just starting to form. And of course, our California native poppies. And a couple more manzanitas here of different textures and different colors. You see the green-red leaf of the Dorley, John Dorley manzanita, and behind it is another type of manzanita. It's a small tree form, and then another flower. And I want to show you the close-up on these monkey flowers. When we talk about color, well, you just can't beat monkey flowers when they're in their full glory. And right next to it is a drought-resistant plant from the Mediterranean called rock rose, cistus. And so you see, you can have drought-resistant plants, California natives, and other drought-resistant plants from Mediterranean zone to make a wonderful park landscape. Thank you.